everyone, and thank you for joining us for Women Build Every Day. My name is Tiffany Cadogan, and I am the Resource Development Coordinator here at Southern Crescent Habitat for Humanity. And today we present to you Miss Angela Reed. She is a blogger behind The Georgia Mom. She is a communications coach, an innovation coach, and a creative. And she's here today to teach us why communication is key.
At Jacobs, we value our partnership with Clayton County, where we provide water, wastewater, stormwater, and transportation design services. Giving back to the communities in which we serve is a cornerstone of our business. One of the ways we do this is through the Southern Crescent Habitat for Humanity Women's Build program. The Women's Build program is a valuable team-building opportunity that connects and empowers female volunteers. These volunteers come from across Clayton County and the Jacobs team to provide a home for a deserving woman in the community. While how we come together this year looks a little bit different, we know that the Women's Build brings value to the community, whether virtual or face-to-face. Jacobs is proud to support the 2020 virtual program, and we look forward to coming together in 2021 for the in-person Women's Build.
Hello, my name is Angela Byrd Reed, and I am elated to join you all as a 2020 Women Build Ambassador. Traditionally, this time of year, we would gather together and literally use our hands to build a home. Things are quite different this year as we do it virtually to empower women towards home ownership, but also building them to positively impact their communities. And I am elated to join alongside the Southern Crescent Habitat for Humanity to do this by gifting my services as a communicator to help build better communication for each of you today. What I would like to do is start out with recognizing the fact that public speaking is something that about 97% of people are terrified of in some capacity. And I would like to share with you some steps that you can take, strategies that you can implement to becoming a more skilled and aware communicator, one strategy at a time, one practical application at a time. I'm going to share with you some gems that I've learned in my 25 years plus of public speaking experience and help guide you through an easy 3-step model that will help you identify and become more self-aware in how you are as a communicator. We're going to break it down into 3 different areas: focus, fundamentals, and fillers. And those are just easy ways for you to remember the content in which we're going to talk about today. So let's start with the fundamentals. When you think about building a home, you have to start with your foundation. And the fundamentals of communication are your foundation. Those are things such as your presence, your cadence, your tone, your inflection, and how you come across when you communicate. So for instance, when you think about cadence, do you speak in a rapid, fast-paced tone? Or are you more of a slow, processed, and stretched out communicator? When you think about tone, is there a beat to your voice, or is it monotone throughout the time in which you speak? Also, your presence and how you prepare, whether it's for a meeting, a one-on-one, or perhaps a presentation in front of a group. Each of those should be viewed differently, and you bring a different presence to whatever the situation of the environment is that you're stepping in as a communicator. So the fundamentals are just those essentials that every communicator understands about themselves and can identify. Oftentimes, what many people lack in their journey towards becoming a better communicator is feedback, getting feedback from others on how you come across when you communicate. It takes just a bit of time to really gain good quality feedback and ultimately use that feedback to identify and assess yourself and the areas in which you could improve. So let's say, for instance, if your cadence is something that you're concerned about, and oftentimes you receive feedback of, you talk so fast. That's one I hear quite often. Let's peel back the layers to why perhaps that is why you choose to use a more fast-paced cadence in your communication. Is it because you're excited? Perhaps you have content that you speak about daily, or when you have the opportunity to talk about something or share your message, you get really excited about doing that. I raise my hand because I'm right there with you. I am excited oftentimes when I talk in front of groups about what I have to say. But think about the perspective of the participant or the attendee or the receiver of your communication. You want them to hear every word, correct? You want them to process what you're saying and truly capture your message. So why speed through it? Take time to record yourself, whether it is through audio, using a voice recorder, or using a video recorder, and truly catching yourself in those areas of increased cadence when it comes to your communication. Another tip is to truly practice what you preach. We hear that phrase often, but when it comes to communication, practicing what you preach is really preparing your speech, preparing your message, knowing what you're going to say, knowing your content front, back, in, and out. That way you are prepared whatever you step in front of an audience of many or an audience of one. So that is a bit about the fundamentals of communication. The next one, the focus. What are you trying to say in your message? What do you want to aim to clearly communicate to others when you're speaking? If it is a conversational message, how can you be clear and concise with someone that you may be passing in the hallway? Or in the virtual space, if you only have maybe a quick 15 with them on the phone or in a virtual conference. But also think about not only the focus of the message that you want to get across, but how do you want that message received by the attendees or the listeners, and making it as clear as possible when you are sharing it. There are a couple of ways in which you can do this. Outlining your message. Just as you learned how to craft a letter or an essay when you were in school, that you had that introduction, that body, and then that closing. That outline can be applied to whether you're doing a presentation or simply having a one-on-one meeting. Writing out or jotting down what you're preparing to say can do wonders for how you communicate it. So consider drafting yourself a communication outline for your next time in which you need to present or share a one-on-one with someone. Well, how are you going to open that conversation? What do you want to say first? Then how are you going to segue into the body of your message or the body of the time in which you have with that person or that audience? And then finally, how will you close? What is going to be that lasting phrase that you're going to leave with the listener? So we've gone over fundamentals. We have covered focus. And our third focus area is going to be, what are fillers? You may have heard this before, but more often than not, many people have not heard about filler words, but you use them every day. It is unlikely that you have been called out about using these words, but many people have heard you in reference to them. Those words include like, so, and an elongated and. Do you see why those words may have the name fillers? They are really interjected when pauses should be replaced by those words. That is going to take some intentional practice. Some of the most skilled communicators, orators, and speech givers in the country still struggle with using filler words. It truly is a lifelong practice to identify where they land in your speech and how you can eliminate them when you're talking. It is as simple as purposefully pausing is what I call it. Making your pauses purposeful in your speech to do a couple of things. Give yourself a moment to truly calibrate on what your brain is asking your mouth to say. Give yourself a moment to think about what you want to say, but also taking your cadence, slowing it down, and allowing those pauses to naturally give your phrases breathing room while you're communicating. Once you learn to extract filler words out of your communication, you will notice immediately and understand how you've already identified yourself as a better communicator by focusing on removing those words. And really, they're just placeholders for when you want to say something, but you're not sure what may come next. So you may put in a like, or you may put in a so, or a until they catch that next word up from your brain to your mouth. So we've covered 3 different areas. We've talked about those fundamentals, which in communication language, that foundation of your communication, your body language, your presence, your tone, your cadence, all of those things. Then it comes to the focus. What is your focus for your message and what you want to communicate? And how can you clearly and concisely leave it with your audience? And that third piece, kicking those filler words to the curb. Understanding and identifying where you place those ahs and ums and likes and so's, and purposefully replacing them with pauses. I thank you for your time and your attention today, and I encourage you to come alongside me and join the Southern Crescent Habitat for Humanity as we empower women to not just build themselves and build towards home ownership, but to also come alongside their villages and communities and build them up as well. Thank you.